Hi, I'm Ann Glessner, the 100 Women Who Care of Northern Door County Nonprofit Coordinator and Board Member. Welcome to our virtual nonprofit presentation for October 26th meeting. We're disappointed that we still can't all be together again this quarter, but we're excited to host another virtual meeting and keep our quarterly giving going. I'll be the host for this short video and ask the questions for the 5-minute Q&A section. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome 100 Women Who Care member Joan Cram, who will be presenting on behalf of her nomination of the Open Door Bird Sanctuary, and also welcome Executive Director Rob Holtz. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Joan.
Hi ladies, I'm Joan Cram and I'm here at the Crest Center with Rob Holtz from the Open Door Bird Sanctuary, and we're very excited to tell you about this unique Door County organization. The 34-acre Open Door Bird Sanctuary was created with a twofold mission of being both educational and environmental, to raise avian awareness to the public and to provide a safe and caring home for injured birds that are not able to be released back into the wild. Currently, the sanctuary has 2 large and 1 small aviary, as well as a home for their bald eagle. There is a bird care center, which is home to the smaller birds and is also command central for the staff and volunteers. In 2019, they added a small nature center that will hopefully be open to the public in 2021. Currently, the new center is not ADA compliant, and with your help tonight, they could use some of the money to add the ramps that are required for public use. The residents of the sanctuary include 7 owls, 2 merlins, 2 red-tailed hawks, 1 falcon, a kestrel, 1 turkey vulture, and a bald eagle. There are 3 hiking trails on the property with very distinctive habitats: prairie, hardwood forest, and pine forest. Each trail brings unique learning and hands-on experiences. Their programming features engaging environmental education through behavioral demonstrations and close-up viewings of raptors on the glove of a handler. There are also verbal presentations, hands-on artifacts, and interactions with the knowledgeable team of volunteers. If Open Door Bird Sanctuary is chosen for the top donation, they would like to use a portion of the money to build an education shelter in the program area. This would allow for permanent displays and protect artifacts and volunteers from wind and weather. The sanctuary is open Saturdays during the summer and 2 programs in the winter. Something that was very popular during this COVID year was private tours for friends and family, available to be booked 7 days a week. They're also hoping to expand their weekend hours in the future. What the Open Door Bird team offers to Door County is extremely unique. They bring live raptors for educational observation to Door County school groups, service clubs, senior groups, and others, both on-site and off. They have held programs at Scandia, Pinecrest, and other senior homes. They provide hospice visits to patients who love the opportunity to see wild birds up close. They do daycare and children programs. They have collaborated with Peninsula Players and with Door Shakespeare. They do programs at Newport State Park, Fall Fest, Pumpkin Patch Festival, and Bailey's Harbor Fest, to name a few. The sanctuary reaches over 7,000 people annually with their 60+ environmental education programs. The list goes on and on with how Open Door benefits our community. The programming and community support continues to expand. There are always new people coming face-to-face with the birds and the knowledgeable team of 42 volunteers. I presented for this charity a couple years ago, and in case you're wondering, the young boy who did his community service at the sanctuary is still a volunteer 3 years later and is now a bird handler and educator. As of right now, the overhead budget to run the sanctuary is approximately $30,000 a year. This covers food for the birds, veterinarian bills, and basic operations like required insurance, phone, electricity, general maintenance, and advertising. The Open Door takes pride in the fact that they work hard to generate a significant portion of these operating costs. This past year has been challenging, with festivals canceled and a good portion of the donations that they collect during the festivities not coming in. They began a matching fund program so that more organizations could be served at the reduced rate. Some of these include Sunshine House / Sunflower Cottage, Boys and Girls Club, Cardinal Ridge Residential Care, and the Door County Medical Center Skilled Nursing Facility. They would love to bolster and expand this program with some of the money they could receive tonight. Unlike some other charities, Open Door Bird Sanctuary is a grassroots Door County organization and does not get money from governmental agencies or other national sources. They rely on contributions from local donors, grant writing, the small amounts they charge for on and off-site programs, and residents who become members of the sanctuary. In closing, please consider what your donation to the Open Door Sanctuary could accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Now we'll give you just a minute to switch positions there for Rob to come into view. And there we see Rob. Excellent. So just a few questions for our 5-minute Q&A. Could you maybe expand a little bit upon how COVID-19 has affected the Open Door Bird Sanctuary this summer?
Sure. It made us scramble a little bit to make sure that we had that we could come up with ways that were very safe and secure for people to still come and enjoy the sanctuary. Early in the year, we lost all of our revenue generating ability by losing all of our offsite programs. We had one of the busiest seasons we've ever had scheduled on paper. And unfortunately, the COVID ended that. And like Joan had mentioned, our private tours were wonderful. And one thing I have to say, sometimes when you get backed into a corner, it really makes you creative. Necessity is the mother of invention, and we've actually developed some things at the sanctuary that we're going to be using going forward, and we may not have done that had we not had to adapt to these very unique conditions of this past year.
Great. So maybe just expanding upon that, can you explain a little bit more about what your organization goals are and maybe where you see the organization in the next 2 to 5 years?
Well, right now our goals just kind of universally reaching out to as many people as we can. As we put it, we like to engage, educate, inspire, and empower. Send people out to the public and to be better environmental stewards. And sometimes that personal connection that they get with one of our raptors is what really does inspire them. Currently, we are expanding our programming. We're looking to have more home for more birds to live at our sanctuary. We're currently building a new aviary, which will be home for 4 more birds. As we move forward in the future, we have a grand plan of expansion that will take many years, but we would like to have a little bit better outdoor area for people to view the birds eventually and see our educational programs. There are some small things that we'd like to do for our volunteers. Ann mentioned one of them, build a nice little permanent education shelter. There are a lot of expansions. We would like to grow our staff eventually so that we have the opportunity to do even more programming than we do today.
Okay, so speaking of staff, can you just confirm what the structures of your organization in terms of paid staff versus volunteers?
We have, as of January 1st this year, we have 1 official staff member, and that is myself. And beyond that, we are fully a volunteer-run organization. And the vast majority of our volunteers, which total between 40 and 45 right now, the vast majority of our volunteers are from right here in Door County.
And have the volunteers been able to help this summer, or has COVID impacted your volunteers' ability to help also?
It has. We have the luxury of being almost exclusively an outdoor facility, which is one of the safest environments we can be at. We were very COVID safe throughout the summer with hand sanitizer everywhere and masks mandatory at the sanctuary. So the vast majority of our volunteers were still very active participants throughout the summer.
Oh, great. And then maybe last question, could you just expand a little bit more on how you would spend the award money? I know Joan touched on it, but just give you a chance to
Sure. Well, and for a small organization like ours, a large donation, what we are potentially looking at is a very, very impactful amount of money. For us, we would consider it a windfall, quite honestly. And so what we look to do, we searched high and low. And when we have something like this, we want to make sure that it gets distributed appropriately. So one of the things, we're looking at 4 areas to use if we were able to receive the large donation, 4 areas that we would really aim it at. One would be the ADA access ramps for our nature center, which we can make it fully compliant and open it to the public next season. The second thing would be that little permanent education shelter, which is kind of a treat for our volunteers. We have a rickety old canopy tent that we set up now for a shelter, and we'd love to put a small permanent shelter in. So we would be able to purchase the materials for that. The third thing would be our underserved nonprofit organization fund that we have, a very small fund right now. We'd like to put a couple $1,000s into that. And what that does is it lets us offer a 50% reduction in our program costs for nonprofits in Door County that aren't able to afford the full cost. And that becomes a matching fund because we are able to go in there and say, hey, instead of $200, we can do a program for $100. We use that matching fund to offset it. And we also then, from the nonprofit, we get a little, $100 from them that we wouldn't have otherwise gotten. So that fund has really generated a lot of programming for nonprofits here in Door County that haven't been able to get our programming in the past. And then the fourth thing is we do need a little bit of bolstering in our just our general fund. This has been a very challenging year for us. And like Joan had mentioned, we're really proud of the fact that we're able to generate a lot of our own revenue at the sanctuary. We lost a significant part of that. So we would put a part of that donation toward our general operations just to make sure we keep the birds fed and keep the lights on and keep the perches warm this winter.
Very good. Well, thanks. That's great. With that, our 5 minutes is up. The time goes really quick. I'd like to thank both Joan and Rob for their time and support of the 100 Women Who Care Giving Circle. And then lastly, thanks to all of you members who are watching and for your support of 100 Women Who Care of Northern Door County and our community. Don't forget to vote for your nonprofit and be sure to join us online for our virtual meeting on October 26th.